you fix that, please?
Right.
You know.
Trying it again,
Um,
guys. Let's see.
yeah, this is
Might be
got it in.
going. Excellent connection. Holy smokes. There
We're
we
good.
go. There we go.
Perfect.
Um, all right. If everybody can hear me, welcome to Beyond the Brink, the show that explores the global events that are pushing people to their limits and driving them to the brink of change. I'm your host, Melissa. My friend Simon here is filling in for Christy tonight. Now, before we kick things off, let's hear from all of you Austin viewers out there. If you happen to be listening in on YouTube or Rumble, show us some love by subscribing to our channel and hitting that like button. Apparently, this helps us get the show out to a wider audience. And for those of you that are joining us on the X Spaces, if you'd please share this stream out so that we can get a few more people in here for this discussion. And I also wanted to take the time to tell all of you that are supporting our channel that we appreciate you so much. We thank you for all your love and support. And for those of you that are just catching us for the first time, you can catch all of our previous episodes by visiting our website at vitobroadcastnetwork.com, or we even are on the podcast software, your popular podcast softwares. Just search the handle at Vita Broadcast. So, Simon, I wanted to dig into today's topic.
Let's go.
Today, we're diving into a topic that's reshaping the very foundations of our society, and that is the case for the universal basic income. And then through my research on this today and my chatting back and forth with Ryan, we were talked about the jobs that possibly AI will take over, and then my burning question, and probably many of you, how the heck are we going to pay for that? And as technology advances it's an unprecedented rate. The shadow of the automation and artificial intelligence that's looming over our job market. What's going to happen with our traditional jobs, our traditional employment, as this AI becomes more and more sophisticated? And I just wanted to say, for those of you that are popping in and deciding whether you want to listen to this show or not, and you're thinking, oh, UBI, I don't have to worry about that. I have a secure job. I'm higher level. I got a degree, yada, yada, yada. Ask yourself, will your job be affected? Do you think your particular job is immune to that possibility? And we're going to explore a few of those questions. So join us as we delve into the promises of the universal basic income, the future of work, and the economic strategies that could redefine the way that we think about wealth and security in the years to come.
That part right there, I love that part. Strategies of wealth. Oh, I love that. I like that part. I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
No, I mean, so as I was looking through, I came across a post today. Oh, we got a request here. Let's see. Robert Jeffrey, I just approved you. Welcome to the show. Long time no hear, no talk. We glad to see you. So let's see back where I was, if I can see Simon's face. So I was looking around and I was thinking about this whole universal basic income, and I came across a post. There's the Proletario person on X, and he posts a lot of provocative questions. He makes some pretty awesome statements, and the one of his posts had to do with universal basic income. So I decided to look into it a little bit more myself. And hey, Robert Jeffrey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good, and I just realized that I need to not have my my sound coming through my other monitor. So let's hold on here. There we go. I think that's better. So yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I was just trying to catch up. It's been a long time.
All right.
It's been a while, so I thought I'd see what was going on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming. Very nice. If you have
Yeah,
any, if you have any,
Aladdin told me to get on the phone.
Aladdin told you to get on the phone,
Yeah, from BlackRock.
right? We touched on that before, haven't we? I remember that. I remember that all too well. All right. Well,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where AI is. I think, they want to tell us it's further along than where it really is, but that's just to
well,
herd the sheep where they're going. I'm not saying that
this is going to be an interesting discussion for you, Robert, because I think it's pretty far along actually. And
oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, keep get your notepad out and start writing down some questions, because as we go, I think that you might even have a little bit of pushback on some of the things that I'm going to present here, and I think this will be a really good conversation. So
awesome.
All right. So I'm going to start. If everybody would mute yourself. I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. So the case for universal basic income. So Simon, I was putting in, I used Chat GPT. Okay. Because I have found, I admit, there we go. We're talking about technology, and so I decided I'm gonna use Chat GPT. Let's see what this thing is all about.
Okay.
What can I do with it? And so rather than read another one of Ariel's posts, and I realized kind of some of his format seems to be AI-esque, so to speak, providing information out there, and provoking conversation, which I think is fantastic, in a good way that we can use this technology, because it does actually pull information, as Robert just mentioned, the Aladdin software, much like they use that for the financial sector, and accumulating all of that data to predict. There's also these technologies out there that pretty much are housing, much of what's been on the internet over the several years, and what's been uploaded into databases and that sort of thing, and coming up with answers. Now, when you put things in there, it doesn't necessarily always give you the right answer, right? So we need to be responsible when we use these tools, but I think that we can use it to have conversations with each other, and put our thinking caps on, and get us having a conversation about these topics that I think are really important. So what do you think about that, Simon?
I would agree with you that any new tool has a good purpose, multiple good purposes, but one person's good purpose is another person's improper use or bad purpose, right? So I remember on the AI, Elon Musk was at, I don't know what, he was at an event, a global level event, right? And he said, we have to be very careful with this AI.
Yes.
And you could hear the concern and the response, kind of that responsibility tone that he was really kind of coming at. And I don't follow Elon too much, or anything like that. That's a whole different arena, but it was very interesting to hear and see that from I'm going to use a world leader, but that might be a little pushing it, but calling him a world leader, but he does play in the upper tiers of our existence, our society, you know. So for him to say that, it's then it's probably he's not the only one in that sandbox that is thinking that is, you know, going, whoa, hey, you know, hey, super rich man that nobody knows over there in the corner, I hear your idea, but oof, we got to talk about this.
Yeah,
you're going way too fast, and you know, those types of things. So back to my statement, you know, I think there's great things that can be utilized with AI, but it's just the responsible part, where it can go, how is it applied, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I was trying to make my
you know, if you had AI right now, it could just do it for you. Okay. Right? A side note on AI. Okay, to all of my Marvel fans out there, Iron Man's Jarvis. Everybody wants a Jarvis. Jarvis is an awesome digital butler kind of person thing. I want a Jarvis. I think that'd be way cool in that type of capacity. I'm just saying.
What I don't know.
Oh, dude, you gotta go back and watch all the Iron Man movies, man. Take one day, at least watch Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, and you'll be like, Jarvis is actually pretty cool.
I've never watched any of those kind of movies.
Dude,
I know.
That's bad. I'm flying out to Michigan.
It's bad.
Tell your man to get a whole bunch of popcorn, ice cream, and chocolate syrup. We're gonna have a weekend.
I need to do that, really. I just haven't been able to actually focus myself on it and really get into the swing of it with those kind of movies.
So I get why. I've totally backed off completely from a lot of just any movies, really. Kind of the Avengers was my last kind of movies that I looked forward to. And that's a whole nother topic, but I'm just saying I really pulled away from that point. I was already pulling away, but those were ones that kind of were my last. I'll go see this, but now no. But the Jarvis, Iron Man's Jarvis, Tony Stark's Jarvis, yeah. That's check cool. Yeah, I'm hyped on that. You give me one of those, I'm in.
All right. Okay, well, welcome, Mattis, for stopping by the show. Welcome to Beyond the Brink. Tonight, we're talking about universal basic income and the potential for AI to kind of assume some of the jobs, and then finally, we're going to touch on how are we supposed to pay for this thing. So getting back to the Chat GPT thing. I wanted to touch on this as just the arguments or the proponents for UBI, universal basic income. And so here are some commonly cited reasons in favor of implementing a universal basic income. So I kind of want to read them all, and then maybe we'll discuss. Okay. The first reason is poverty alleviation. And it says UBI is seen as a direct and effective way to alleviate poverty by providing a basic income floor for all individuals, ensuring that everyone has enough to cover their basic needs. Okay, that makes sense. 2, simplicity and efficiency. UBI simplifies the social welfare system by replacing various targeted programs with a single, straightforward payment. And this can reduce bureaucracy and administrative costs associated with mean-tested programs. Number 3, they have social justice. It promotes the social justice by addressing income inequality, provides a basic standard of living for all citizens, helping to bridge the wealth gap and reduce disparities between different social economic groups. 4, now, I know some of you already are listening to this and thinking, BS, this is for people that are lazy, or I'm noticing terms already right away where, they're talking about the equity and things like that, all these terms that get people fighting and arguing over. But I want you to just listen to these reasons that they have for this universal basic income, and think about them. And then as we go into the jobs that are potentially going to be replaced by AI, and I just want people to look at things in a little bit different light than maybe they do on the surface, right? Or they're on a surface level, because the surface level, it's really easy to dismiss these things. But it would behoove you not to do that. So, and this is my opinion only. I do not speak for Christy. Christy is part of this Beyond the Brink show. And if she was here, she may have a different opinion than I do. And when we come back, when she comes back, she'll give her her opinion on it as well. And I'm sure Simon and all of you in here will have your opinions, and welcome to share those. But so I just want to continue on going through. So I did say the social justice one, right? I've already done that.
Yes.
Number 4, job displacement due to automation. And then, with the rise of the automation and artificial intelligence, there are concerns about job displacements, and UBI is seen as a way to provide a safety net for individuals who may lose their job during technological advancements. Number 5, they say that UBI can promote entrepreneurship. Provide them with the financial security to actually go out there and pursue entrepreneurial ventures and take on risks and invest in their education or skills without the fear of financial ruin. Number 6, health and well-being. By ensuring that everyone has a basic income to cover essential needs such as food, housing, and healthcare, UBI has the potential to improve overall health and well-being. Number 7, we have 10 right now. So I'm on number 7, encouraging unpaid work. UBI recognizes and supports unpaid work, such as caregiving and volunteering, which is often undervalued in traditional economic systems. Number 8, stimulating the economy. UBI can act as an economic stimulus by putting money directly into the hands of individuals, leading to increased consumer spending and demand for goods and services. Number 9, adaptability to changing work patterns. As the nature of work evolves with gig economies, that's a keyword there, gig economies and freelance opportunities, UBI provides financial stability in a changing job market where traditional employment models may not apply. And then finally, number 10, and these are just 10 that random pro UBI from ChatGPT, human dignity and freedom. UBI is often framed as a way to uphold human dignity by ensuring that everyone has the means to live a basic dignified life. It provides individuals with more freedom and choice in how they choose their time and their resources. And then in the closing, it says, despite these arguments, it's important to note that there are also criticisms and challenges and the impact on work incentives, and the debate around UBI involves weighing those pros and cons to determine its feasibility, desirability in a given societal context. Now, so when I initially came across that, Ryan and I were talking. Welcome NFT Solutions and Kathleen. Welcome
NFT Solutions in the house tonight.
NFT Solutions in the house.
It was good.
Oh, and I got a drink brought to me. Huh? Thank you.
Dang.
Hello. Salute on Sunday night.
I'll give you $5. You slam that right now. Just kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
For those of you, this is a White Russian, and that is my favorite drink, and not part of the show, but I appreciate having it. Thank you very much.
Oh, trust me, if you knew what that happens in radio stations all across this country, you'd be like, "Oh, this is nothing." Like that's how they get together. Trust me. You're right in line right now.
So as I was talking to Ryan about it, and trying to figure out, I lost my somehow I lost my Twitters. My Twitters are gone. My Twitters are gone, guys.
Let me go to the X.
I was yeah, I should have called it X, shouldn't I have? So we were talking
X
about
Twitter.
it, and so as we're going through these different different things, you know, I started thinking about it. A lot of times people listen to these types of things and they think this doesn't apply to me, right? Because I've got a job. I'm already secure. There's no issues with my income. So therefore I don't need to you know, I don't need to worry about any of this type of thing. And they tend to think that the you know, things like universal basic income is really just going to be for people that are you know, I think that the you know, I don't know why that's happening. That's not good. I didn't need to do that. I heard myself in the
I did
spaces.
too. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
I
sorry about
fixed it. It
that.
was on my end. I apologize.
Oh, was it on your end?
Yeah, I went to try to go to X to see who was in the chat or the show, whatever, and it started playing on my end. I was like, oh no, no, get out of here.
Oh, I
Too
thought
much
it was
echo. Yeah.
I
So I
thought it was
apologize.
me. Well, I did the
No, you're
same
fine.
thing because somehow
So
I left myself.
this is according to chat though, right? This is what you
It started
your
playing on my
10.
end. I was like, oh,
Your 10.
My 10
That is still,
reasons, the funding.
yeah, your 10 reasons.
Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
10 arguments and for proponents that of why we may need universal income and why it's a good thing. And so as Ryan and I were talking about it, and thinking about the jobs that could be lost in the future, okay, it's a real possibility that could happen. And
Okay.
we started looking up. Well, first, I should say, does anybody have any questions or want to speak to any of these ideas that Chat GPT is coming up with as a pro for reasons for universal basic income? Because if you look at it, put yourself in the shoes of you have lost your job. I don't know if anyone here has been in a situation where they suddenly lost their job, because I have. I went, yes, Simon, you have, where you've lost your job. You might have some kind of savings, but that gets eaten up really quick. And so, you know, all of these arguments, in my opinion, are fairly accurate in what could happen in the event that we do need to have a universal income, basic income for a time being. I saw you raise your hand, Simon.
I did, but I did it like this, and then
Yeah.
the old
And
computer
it did
did
it.
it all by itself. Yeah. The boys and ladies in the shadows are watching us again. Like,
Yeah, they are.
Simon, you
They
lost
always
your job.
do,
Raise your
don't
hand. We know you lost your job. We've been monitoring you for years.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, so tell about your experience with you know, a little bit of losing your job, and you know, where would you think that would come into play for you if
Well,
if you did, you know?
well, so most of the list that you gave me, it's already in play, right? So my viewpoint on this is, I feel like we're being sold a bag of dirt, because when I get laid off, and if you're a union construction worker, you get laid off, you get unemployment, no questions asked, right? I don't have to look for a job. The union does it for me, and that's part of the contract. Where like someone who's non-union would have to still go out and look for the job and take whatever job they had to get, right? They're getting a universal basic income, right? If that was, you know, that's already that's already in play. But the smooth transactions, the smoother, like getting the money there, that would be cool for anybody that's on unemployment. That I'm with. The poverty part though, like whether you're getting your stuff provided for you or not, you're still already in poverty. That's already in play.
I don't know what the hell's happening.
I don't know. They're on to us. But
no, I can't access my spaces right now. So I'm hoping it's still good, guys, because I don't know I don't know. It disappeared on me.
Let me try to join this way. But I'll continue.
Yes.
The job displacement, again, unemployment's already in play in your state. Your job goes down, you can go and try to file for unemployment and go down that route. If there's universal basic income, I'm going to assume at this point you're going to have to jump through the same hoops just to get it. I don't feel like they're just going to go, here you go, and your life's better now. It's not, because per se, all your needs are being met, but you're still in poverty, right? It just means you have a roof over your head, gangster. You have food in your cupboards and all that, cool. If you need to go to the doctor, a doctor at our choosing, cool. And I think maybe your choices might be limited versus like an example of limited choices. If you get food stamps in the state that I'm in, you can't buy any food you want. You have to stick to their regiment, right? And most of it's pretty good. I'll be honest with that. My point is they are setting the guidelines of what you can and cannot do. So, it's like, okay, we got this, but I have to do what you tell me to do. Otherwise you're going to take this away, right? Unless it's 100% guaranteed, no questions. I get to do me how I want to do me. Now, the entrepreneur part is a little interesting. Someone who is on unemployment right now, you can still go out there and try to be entrepreneur. But let's talk about the AI part. If AI is at that level where people are losing their jobs, don't you think businesses might be going too? Because AI is already taking those as well. And entrepreneurship, at what we come to know as entrepreneurship, not including the tech market, you might have a shot. But if everybody's on this basic income, you'll be existing. In my math in my head, I'm having a hard time seeing the elevating part, the hunger part, the part that most entrepreneurs they're hungry, like, and they just go for it.
Yeah.
Competition, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so, and Ryan and I had this discussion earlier today. I sure hope that can you see, can everybody give a thumbs up if you can still hear this space?
Let's see. No hoops to jump through, but I'm sorry, I was just reading Rosemary's thing.
Yeah, are you on Spaces? Can you see if they can still hear us on Spaces?
I am not on Spaces. Rosemary, if you're on Spaces, but you're also watching on YouTube. Oh, Lynn O gives a thumbs up.
Lynn O, thumbs up. Is that for Spaces? You can still hear us. I don't know what the hell I did, but I just I X'd out of it, or I minimized it. And so I want to just make sure that everybody on Spaces can still hear me. Not sure if they can or not. I can hear you both on Spaces and YouTube. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay. That. All right. I'm going to stop worrying about it and that I can't see it on my screen. I'm doing my best with learning this technology. So when we started talking about that, and they made up those, Ryan brought up the same argument that you did. Okay. And so let's just talk about the jobs right now. I asked Chat GPT, what, I don't think I can hear you on Spaces. Rosemary says she doesn't think she can hear me on Spaces.
Okay.
I don't know what happened with it.
Rosemary has quite a few comments on the YouTube, by the way, just throwing it out there.
See, every time that I log into spaces, or I'm in, like, if I'm in spaces,
Yes.
and I was trying to go back into the space, it is saying it like started feedbacking me again, which I don't know why. Um,
I thought you had to log in via your phone and get the
yeah,
invite from Viva. Or
yeah, and
DV,
then
whatever the hell it is.
so I was doing it that way, and I had yeah, see, Kathleen is saying I can't hear anybody. And that's
Okay.
because my mic dropped out of the spaces. And
Okay.
so that is just a big fat bummer.
Yeah.
Um,
And Rosemary says space seems to be silent.
yeah, that's a bummer. So let me see if I can get back in here somehow without um
You sent me an invite though.
let's see. Let's do it again. Invite to co-host. Let's just try to do this again on the fly and see if I can get this situation fixed. Join as a co-host there. I'll put you as a co-host too, just in case.
While you're doing that,
Yep.
I want to read Rosemary's comments real quick since we're on the YouTube still.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Rosemary's got quite a few here. I'm just going to go from the top. Means testing creates a situation where you feel like you'll get in trouble if you make money and do well. For people who are dependent on, oh, we're going to leave that. Sorry. Excuse me. For people who are dependent on Snap or whatever, it might be their only safety net. Now, see, that's where I align with people who are on Snap. Like my wife has quite a few friends that are literally actually kind of trapped in the welfare program. Like they literally, if they start making extra money, their benefits like get cut like in half. Just like that, just because they're making money. And I don't really think that's a hand up. I think that's a kick down and a punch in the face, in my opinion. If you're going to help someone like that, then there needs to be a different way. Let's see, no hoops to jump through, but there will no longer be unemployment. You would have UBI, but you could work all you want. You wouldn't lose it. Now that would be interesting if it was that plus whatever you basically got already. But I know these big corporations. You talked about gig workers.
Yeah.
The gig worker space, at least in the delivery sector,
Mhm.
they're already just rolling us over, taking us to town on that. It's like $3 to $5 a delivery. We're basically relying on the tip. And I don't care if you got an electric car or a gas car, even on a good gas mileage, that's nothing. You have to stay out there for 15 hours a day to maybe have a $200 day. That's $1,000 a week. And where I live, that's not going to make it.
So this is what I want to say. I'm gonna go through some jobs.
Okay.
And then I want to touch on some things that I see happening. Because I do think that this whole thing needs to be revamped, and I think it's being worked on. Okay. So I put into Chat GPT, and again, we go back to saying, people that are listening, they think that it may not affect them, their jobs. I put in what jobs have been replaced due to AI. So far, what jobs have been impacted? AI has impacted various industries, leading to the automation of certain tasks and the replacement of some jobs. And now, in the beginning, here's jobs that involve repetitive, routine tasks. And of course, those are more susceptible to automation. So your manufacturing jobs, that's led to the replacement of certain roles. Data entry and processing, jobs that involve routine data entry and processing tasks can be automated using AI algorithms and software. That's a fact. Customer service, AI powered chatbots, virtual assistants, have been implemented in customer service to handle routine inquiries, and it reduces the need for the human agents that we normally would talk to. Anybody that has called a customer service line can probably attest to the fact that most of the people are not real people anymore. It takes a long time to get through to a real person. So those jobs have already been in the process of being replaced by AI. Telemarketing, AI-driven systems can automate aspects of telemarketing and sales, handle routine calls and interactions. Okay, so far these are like, oh, not that big of a deal. Routine administrative tasks. Some of the administrative tasks, such as scheduling, data analysis, and basic communication, those can all be done through the AI tools. And then your simple financial analysis, those can be automated using AI algorithms. As Jeffrey brought up earlier, the Aladdin software, and those types of software, they impact the roles that involve repetitive financial calculations because it can do it at the speed of light. And so, so then it says, while AI can generate these tasks, certain tasks or whatever, you can never replace the human element of that. And so most people, when they start to look into this, they think, well, this is not me. This is not my job, right? These are just these lower level jobs. And so I started asking it. There was a Business Insider article that I came across that says the 10 jobs most at risk from being replaced by AI. And so as of January 22nd, these are the ones. And we already touched on telemarketers, data entry clerks, bookkeeping clerks, cashiers, because now, which we've all seen that in the grocery store, cashiers are replaced by automated checkout systems and self-service kiosks and whatnot. Fast food restaurants, a lot of the fast food restaurants now are tasked with fast food preparation, and that's automated, right? Assembly line workers, we talked about jobs that involve the repetitive. But it's getting more and more replaced by robotic automation in those. Retail workers, automated checkouts, AI-driven inventory management systems can impact retail jobs. The customer service representative, tax preparers, basic tax preparation tasks can be automated using AI tools. And so
that's dangerous.
Then I said, what about healthcare? What about healthcare? Well, in healthcare, and I can attest to this with some of the stuff that I see going on. It says healthcare industry, while AI has the potential to bring about significant advancements, it's more about augmentation and collaboration with human professionals rather than the complete job replacement. However, that's only in certain parts of it. Your medical imaging analysis. So that was a pretty good paying job. AI is now used to analyze medical images such as your x-rays, your MRIs, your CT scans, all of those things. That's a profession. My friend did that for a living. She made a good living. That is getting replaced by AI. Diagnostic assistants. So AI algorithms. Yep.
I have one thing there.
Yep.
If it's replacing that job, how does it know how to do that job? Also,
who
is there to correct the AI when it fails to do its job? Sounds like the person that had that job might.
So here's the thing: how
to fix the AI to do the job.
Well, here's the deal, especially like say X-rays and MRIs and CAT scans and all of those types of things. The AI is trained on what is what. Okay. So if you have a photo, an image that is XYZ, and you go to school, right? You go to school, they teach you when you see XYZ. Something like this, it means that. You see this, this means that. So all of that information is fed into the AI, and it can read. Now, are they going to still need a human to do some of that stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
Will they need as
Absolutely.
many humans as they need now to do it? No. If you think about how many, there's like a backlog whenever you're trying. I have a friend right now that is waiting to get into a scan for potential cancer. And they can't get him in until December, the end of December or something like that, as these things come online and things can be done quicker, or even if you get a scan, it takes a while for it to get read. It's waiting to get read by human. Okay. Once these things get fully implemented into the healthcare system, there will be jobs in the healthcare. It's not, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to say this is coming, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because they are using the expertise that has been built up by humans, right? The discoveries that have been made by humans and fed into this AI. And now listen, I'm not saying, I am just trying to present the proponent side of things and the realities of what I see, what this chat GPT is saying, but also what I see, but just what I see also. And so it resonated with me because I'm actually seeing it. All right.
Sure.
So I just want to go. So that's medical. The administrative tasks, that they can automate certain administrative tasks like appointing, scheduling, billing, medical record management,
there's
all
no
of those
copy
things.
break.
There's a whole bunch of people that have those jobs, and I'm seeing those people now there's mergers and things like that, and they use that as the guys to get rid of people. Okay. But your executive assistants, your middle schedulers, all of that stuff, it's getting pared down. Okay. Yeah. In that. So you got those people have made decent wages. They've had health insurance. They've had all this kind of stuff. So you have those people. Then you got the drug discovery and development. AI is used to analyze vast data sets to identify potential drug candidates and accelerating the drug discovery process. So that's a specific job. Virtual health assistants, robotic surgery. While that's not fully autonomous, robotic systems controlled by surgeons increasingly use so that is there. Predictive analysis. Remote patient monitoring, which I know also, like my hospital, they're already trying to get the remote patient monitoring in the hospital as a help for patient workload and things like that. And so, yes, this is true, that you can't remove or replace the human touch entirely. But if anyone thinks that this type of technology is not going to make those jobs less, like smaller amount of availability, I beg to differ that you're wrong.
Okay. I think I would agree with you. I would agree with you there. And here's the thing. If you were born, and this is just my opinion, my thoughts, but if you were born before the 70s, you have this idea that you will have your job forever. And you've passed that, in my opinion, a non-existing idea, relevant idea in these times. That is completely done. You cannot just do the same thing over and over and over and expect you to get your check. Those days are done. You're going to have to step up. You're going to have to buckle up, and you're going to have to play ball, or you're literally going to have to sit on the bench and maybe get your universal basic income. These jobs are getting whittling down. Step up, find a way to participate and play ball and still make you relevant. Even as an entrepreneur, you have the experience and multiple different educations where maybe this AI only got one. Let's touch on the information side of this. Okay. Show of hands out there in spaces and on YouTube right now that knows your full American correct history. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Nobody. We don't. So So if that type of mishap continues to happen in the production of this AI, then, where's the human factor to go, whoa, stop, time out. We're not doing this. Dog everything. You're wrong. Right. The AI, the medical side, it's been fed all this information. It's like, cool, but to what level? Okay. And I'm really trying not to go to the hat right here. But at what level? What level of information does the AI have? And who are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 individuals that decided to only give it that? Again, a lot of power by a select few that, pretty much has its what's the word I want? Its influence or consequences upon all of us, the everybody else in society that's not a part of that. I can see how things are getting whittled down. You're right. It is getting whittled down. With efficiency, gets rid of the human factor. I need to go have a break. I have this going on in my life. It's not emotional. Like 90% of our lives is based on an emotion, which is a feeling. I'm excited. I'm angry. I'm depressed. I'm this. Those are all like feelings. The AI doesn't have feelings. So it doesn't have to deal with that part, the human part, right? However, that human part, in my opinion, works at a higher level of frequency to where we probably do so much more than that AI can do. If we could, that AI might curb us at every corner, except that it can, as of right now, it cannot do that. It can probably get super close, but it will not be the full measure of the human emotion. So if something's coming for your job, like my job, I know something's coming for my job. They already got it in play in a different industry. And that industry is the military complex. It's called the drone. Hey, unmanned pilots, 2 little 19-year-olds sitting in the game box. Okay, I mean, that's a little out there, a little harsh, but they're sitting in there with the joysticks and, in a roundabout way, they're playing flight simulator with real lives. Okay. Bring that to the construction field. I got a robot, and I'm sitting in the box hanging ductwork. It could totally do that, right? The layout for all the hangars, a little drone could fly in there with all its massive lasers. It goes, there's everybody's hanger points, and it could do it in seconds, probably, something like that. There's the efficiency, but you got to be the person who fixes the drone when it fails, because technology always has this fail point. Example, what happened to your Twitter spaces tonight? Where was the AI on that? No, somebody has to fix that.
I need my button box.
Now, where I think your concern and a lot of people's concern that you're bringing up, you're seeing a lot of jobs go away. It's not just our kids; it's the grandkids. You got to get this to the grandkids. It's like, hey, you're going to need to be fluid and liquid. You're going to have to be a jack of all trades, so to speak, out of necessity, not just because you like it and you want to pop your collar or your Carhartt jacket.
Well, and I agree. Ryan and I were talking earlier, and he was saying, the ones that are going to be around, learning the technology. You can't discount the human aspect of these jobs. Right. They're very important. However, with the automation of all of these things, and it goes back to, and I'm going to read you a bunch more. Get ready, because I have even more. There's a huge amount of population, and with the amount of jobs that are going to get whittled down. And again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not saying I'm pro universal basic income, or I think it's the problem. So the solution to all of our problems. However, I do think that it is a real thing that is coming to a theater near you. And the more that we give this our attention and figure out ways that we can be a part of this and figure out, like you're saying, be fluid understand the importance of the job that you're in now, and how can you improve upon that so that you don't get, um, you know, put out because your company merged with another company, because that's what they do. With a lot of these jobs, they eliminate the jobs, they merge with other companies because they're fighting for money and blah blah blah. And the next thing you know, you're out. And so I just want to read a couple more for those of you who are listening here and still think that this might not affect you, because you again, you got a high paying job, you got a degree, or you're highly skilled in whatever it may be. I typed in, so we just talked about the health sector. I talked about what about financial services, right? And here you've got,
done.
I mean, so here you have a bunch of financial professionals that think they're safe, right? They're the smart ones. And no offense to anybody, I'm not trying to say, anything negative against anyone. I'm just saying a lot of people that have these kind of jobs, they think they're completely safe, right? They don't see any of this coming. But here's a list of jobs, just as examples, that could have AI or already do. You've got your algorithmic trading. Those are the algorithms that analyze the market data and execute the trades. Well, that's been happening for a long time, as Robert was earlier. Fraud detection. AI systems are used to detect and prevent fraudulent activities by analyzing patterns and anomalies in transactions. I always wanted to be a forensic accountant. I always thought if I ever go back for my master's degree, maybe I'd become a forensic accountant. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do that now. Customer service and chat box. We already talked about credit scoring and risk assessment. All of those jobs. Personalized financial advice. People pay good money for that. AI algorithms can analyze the customer data and provide personalized financial advice that impact those traditional roles of the trusted financial advisors. You got algorithmic portfolio managers. These are robo advisors that use AI to create and manage investment portfolios based on your customer preferences and risk profiles. So you don't need to trust anybody with the information. You can use one of these robo advisors. Regulatory compliance. Here we go. There's regulators. AI is now used for regulatory reporting, monitoring transactions for compliance, and managing risk in accordance with financial regulations. We all have heard, if you're in the crypto space, anti-money laundering, your AMLs. Simon says crypto, and know your customer.
What are you talking about?
This AI assists in automating AML and KYC processes. It improves efficiency and compliance procedures. Insurance underwriters, those guys. AI is going to help in automating the insurance underwriting processes by analyzing the customer data to assess risk. And then you got the quantitative analysis that they have the AI-driven quantitative models that analyze financial data to inform investment decisions. And so then here's the next phase. We will say it said, it's while AI has automated certain routine tasks in financial services, it's also created a demand for roles related to AI development, data science, and cybersecurity. So for those of you that are young, maybe watching this and thinking, what the hell do I even do right now? What kind of field can I go into? Perhaps you look into that if you're interested in any of this kind of stuff. Maybe you do start looking into roles that has an AI element to it, or developing AI and the data science and the cybersecurity side of it, because there's going to be so many different things that are going to touch on that, right? So that's a need. Okay. Then I came, Simon, to education. And
here we go.
Yeah. And so, again, I'm like, hey, in the field of education, they're using AI to enhance aspects of teaching, learning, and the administrative processes. And here are some ways that AI is making impact in education as well. So they have personalized learning, where AI algorithms are analyzing student performance data to tailor educational content that adapts to the individual learning style and pace, which is pretty cool for some kids, right? I guess if you have the right one. Automated grading. Nobody likes to grade papers. AI systems will assist in grading assignments, quizzes, tests, providing quicker feedback to students, and allowing educators to focus more on interactive teaching. And there's a big push that's already kind of being integrated into the education system now. They have intelligent tutoring systems. And now, while this might not all be implemented at everywhere, but everybody that's listening or watching, it might not be right in your school system now or your college now, but it's coming. It's there. They have the intelligent tutoring systems. They have language processing for writing assistance, which I mean, Chat GPT or any of these other AI systems where you can put it in there and it will tell you. We've all been familiar with that. Virtual classrooms and online learning platforms, adaptive learning platforms, student retention and intervention. This AI analyzes data to identify students at risk of falling behind, and then suggest the intervention. So the people that specialize, I guess what I'm saying, the people that were specializing in that, they might still be a point of the spear there, but there's not going to be a whole team of folks as there was. And it might not be in the next year, but it might be, not very far down the road. And you said you had to leave at 9, didn't you, Simon?
I did, but I do actually, yes.
Well, I'm not ending the show, so those of you
no, it's good.
Keep going. I just didn't want you to feel awkward if I was
no. Something came to me as you were talking about the education and stuff like that, and I kind of got this vision in my head of like, okay, so let's say there's a time period, just for a moment. There's a time period where the jobs have been whittled down. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, what is the point of the AI to teach these kids to go and do what? Like, there has to be a balance. There must be a balance there. And it might be arguably nonetheless, there must be a balance to where it's like, okay, so we go full Matrix where the robots control the surface and we go down closer to the core of Earth or something like that. Like I don't know if I'm 100% on board with your job's going to be taken away. I think you will evolve. Your grandmother might have done data entry, right? Yeah. Your father or mother did programming on the side, and now you're doing some interstellar type of communications. I mean, I know that's kind of a far-fetched on the interstellar part. Yeah, I'm just like, there's got to be a balance. Like this. I
agree. Works. Yes, and Ryan and I were talking about that too today. And this is where I go back to the beginning, where the reasons for universal basic income. And so in my mind, the reality of all of these things changing, all of the jobs that are going to be replaced. And you're right. We can evolve and we can learn new things. Right. But I was saying earlier, who has time to when you're working now, 9 to 5, 10 to whatever your schedule is. Some people work 10, 20 hours that it's a day, half of them, the ones that have really high level paying jobs where they're getting, making a lot of money. They owe their soul to the man, so to speak. They don't have time to to school themselves on this new advancement. So like you're saying, somebody needs to, they knew how to do data entry and they knew how to do this and that. Now we need to expand our thinking and sharpen up our toolkit, so to speak, right? And so with you having experience, me having experience in losing a job and being without income, that is a very stressful situation. And so where I see the universal basic income argument or necessity is that I do think that there are going to be a lot of people, and there already are, that are struggling. And as more of the jobs are going away, as companies, and this takes time, Simon, you know how long it takes. I'm sure when you have a job, they tell you at your work, we got such and such a job, and but you don't actually get to that job for maybe even a year or 2 years out, right? By the time there's big talk over the bidding of a job, and then you finally get it, everybody's happy, but it doesn't start because it takes a long time to implement these things, right? The plan,
it does. It does take a long time to implement, but you know, like the universal basic income. Okay, this is just me thinking negative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the easiest way to get you to get out of your job and get out of the way so I can do my AI thing, and where I don't need 50,000 people to work for me?
Mm-hmm.
I cut you a small check. Social Security was the same thing back in the day. Allegedly the elite got tired of their houses getting broken into by people who were hungry and this and that. Food riots in Paris. I don't know what that was, but it was one of the Louis. Anyway, during the Louis time, right?
Yeah.
Again, but they had to fork something out to quiet the mob, right? That's, in my mind, this is just a same trick, same bag, different gift wrapping paper to a degree. You know, if you get this and it helps you, great. Allow it to help and give them something else to go into. But if you're taking away all their options off the table, my friends, you have been sold a big pile of poo.
Well, so, and this is where I think that we're focusing on two different things.
Right.
Okay. And this is good. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I think I agree with what you're saying. I don't want anybody to think that
you're explaining your process that you went through, right? And yes. I'm just talking about the other side.
Love it. I love it because in actually, I think your response is very common to this. I mean, a lot of people are, you know, like I grew up on welfare. I'll tell you that. I'll tell everyone that.
And how hard was that?
It sucked. Okay.
Right. And how sucked. Limiting was it? How limiting was it?
It was very limiting and it sucked. And it was bad. Okay. However, I think the universal basic income thing, and I wish you could stay because I
got about 2 more minutes and I literally got
2 minutes and then you leave. And then if any of you others want to come up and chat with me, but I'm going to keep going on with the show. Oh, hi Boomer. Nice to see you again. We got TC and I think it's Leron. Leron. I apologize if I say your name wrong. Thank you for joining the show. But hopefully you and I will chat about this again.
I think it's a good topic because it's a personal topic. It really is, because I've seen so many of these types of things be offered to people who really need it. But in that same breath, it keeps them down. You know, not to throw, let's see, I'm trying to think of how many people actually know me and my wife and her friends. I think there's a good separation there. So my wife has a few friends that are in certain types of welfare programs, right? One of them, single mom, a few kids, right? And they're all special needs, right? Okay, so she has to be there. right?
Mhm.
But even now her benefits are getting cut back. It's like, okay, well, if she goes out and gets a job to try to make up for that shortfall, everything goes away. I'm like,
Yeah.
that right there is garbage. So if that's going to happen again,
Mhm.
like, I mean, then yeah, you keep your basic income,
Mhm.
because because it's the same thing, only just different, in my
I think
viewpoint.
this is so
Where's
much
the help?
bigger. I think this
Yeah.
is so much bigger than that. And I agree with what you're saying is that they're
Yeah.
punishing people that are trying to get out of a situation,
Right.
being
Right.
on
Help
a
a brother,
welfare.
help a sister out. Cool. Tear that
Exactly.
thing up. Tear that thing up, man. Come on. The AI could come up with, I might go to Chat GDP and ask. But the AI could probably come up with a tier program to work themselves out of the reliance of that program.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, peace and chicken grease, Melissa. I love you very much.
I
Christy,
love you
knuckle bumps
too.
all around wherever you're at, sister. I love y'all. Y'all on spaces. These are the deuces, and I am cabooses.
I'll see you again, Simon. Thanks for joining
Okay,
us.
bye-bye.
All
Take care.
right. Okay, guys. So thanks so much for Simon being my co-host for the first hour of this. And he brought up a lot of really good points, and that was um, a lot of things that that people bring up when they think about this universal basic income, where they do focus on what we already experience with those types of things, and people getting trapped in it, or just people being lazy and staying on it, or people abusing it and that sort of thing. I just wanted to get everybody, hopefully inspire you to think about things, expand your thinking a little bit more when you think about the development of the technology that's here. Robert Jeffrey was on earlier, and he was saying that he didn't believe that we were very far down the road with the technology. And I was saying to him that, we are very far down the road with the technology. And I'm personally seeing it. I work in accounting, in the healthcare field. I see a lot of things, and there are big changes happening all over in every industry, in implementing this AI, automated technology. And it's not to be a Debbie Downer and say that oh, you guys are all going to lose your jobs. But the reality is that a lot of people are going to maybe not have the jobs that they once had, or there's going to be a lot smaller amount of those jobs. And so I just say, sharpen the skills that you do have, improve upon them, tap into this AI side of things, and your human capital, your human touch on it. Be the best that you can possibly be, so that you shine like a diamond in the economy that is sure to come. It's here already. And so I just wanted to kind of inspire people to start thinking about these kind of things, because so many people aren't. They just don't think that this has anything to do with them whatsoever, or I'm a conspiracy theorist, doom and gloom type thing. But and then of course they do disagree with me on this universal basic income thing. And like I said, I'm not super for it, but I can understand the necessity of it in the future. You know, if someone loses their job, their their purpose, a lot of times people's purpose is affected. It's mentally hard for folks that lose a job. And when you put not having money on top of that, it's a very stressful situation. And so it would only be responsible for any government in the entire world, the whole world, for the technology and developments that they are expecting to happen and wanting to happen, it would be extremely and irresponsible of them not to create something to protect the well-being of their citizens. And that would include a universal basic income of some sort. You can't displace a bunch of people and not have something for them to survive from. And I still have hope for humanity and hope that we are not going to be just squashed like bugs, even though they might want us to eat bugs. Anyway, so as I went through all of this stuff, I said, Rosemary says, I like the part where they eliminate the bureaucracy that oversees all of the other welfare programs. Yeah, I agree, Rosemary. When I started looking into the UBI, well, my first question was, how would we pay? How would we even pay for this proposed UBI that we hear so much about? And the answer came up that the universal basic income could come from various sources, including government revenues, taxes on income, wealth, or certain transactions. It often involves a redistribution of resources to ensure basic financial support for all citizens. Specifically, funding mechanisms. The specific funding mechanisms would depend on the policies and priorities of the implementing government. And I thought, we live in the United States, and I do anyway. And I said, what if the government doesn't have any revenues? And the answer came back, for those of you just stopping in. Hey, Chris. It said if a government doesn't have any revenues, it would face significant challenges in implementing a universal basic income or any other social welfare program. Governments typically generate revenue through taxes, fees, or other sources. And if a government lacks funds, it might need to explore alternative financial strategies such as economic reforms, seeking foreign aid, or implementing policies to stimulate economic growth. The feasibility of a universal basic income would be closely tied to the overall economic and fiscal health of the government. And so I thought about that answer that was given, and I said, but the United States is already in the red, so how would they pay for UBI? And it said funding for a universal basic income in the United States, especially if the country is facing fiscal challenges, as we are, that would require careful consideration of various factors. Possible funding sources could include restructuring existing government expenditures, increasing taxes, exploring innovative revenue streams, or a combination of these approaches. Policymakers would need to balance the goal of providing a basic income while maintaining overall fiscal responsibility. The feasibility of implementing a UBI in a fiscally strained environment would depend on the economic and political landscape at the time. Well, the thing that stuck out to me, and there was a lot in there, but I thought increasing taxes. And when I think about increasing taxes, and I said, I don't think that raising taxes on U.S. citizens is a good way to pay for those who don't have jobs, because that would only work for a short time, right? I mean, there's only so many people that are going to say, yeah, sure, raise my taxes. I'm going to pay for everybody else that doesn't have a job right now. That's only going to last for so long. And so I'm like, what's the alternative to that? And this, for those of you just joining, I had a little chat with ChatGPT going back and forth as I'm talking about or learning or educating myself and asking questions about basic universal income and do we need it and how we're going to pay for it. And ChatGPT says raising taxes to fund a universal basic income can indeed be complex and contentious issue. And it often involves a delicate balance between providing financial support for those in need and avoiding negative impacts on economic growth. This is a PC answer, or discouraging individuals' productivity. Policymakers would need to carefully consider the overall economic impact, public opinion, and alternative funding mechanisms to ensure the sustainability of a UBI program. It's a multifaceted decision that requires thorough analysis and thoughtful implementation, which I agree. It definitely needs to be well thought out. And I don't know if any of you guys are paying attention, or I hate it when I say paying attention. I don't know if any of you are giving the current political landscape any attention at all, or watching any of the hearings. But I have been across the board. And what I see, particularly the ones that aren't on the mainstream news, right? The ones that they don't show you on television, the ones where you just look up the Financial Services Committee or the agricultural one, or whatever. There's only about, I don't know, anywhere from maybe 100 people to I think the most I've seen is like 400 and some odd people watching live during some of these hearings. They seem to be working through. I watched one on taxes not too long ago. They're asking some really interesting questions. They have some interesting people on the panels. And so from my observation, these things are being done. They're asking these questions. I firmly believe that there are people working in the background that we're not seeing, that are working on all of these types of things, because they see what's coming, because nothing can stop what's coming. The technology advancements here, and we better figure this out, or there's going to be big problems. So I asked this chat GPT, what are some alternative funding mechanisms? And they said alternative funding mechanisms for a universal basic income could include tax reforms, which would be, instead of a broad-based tax increase, governments might consider restructuring existing tax systems to ensure fair and effective revenue generation, which I'll have to post in the link below the tax hearing that I watched, where they were using some really similar language, and they were hinting at those types of things within this hearing, which, again, if you're like me and you do this research and you come across one article or one interview or one hearing, it all kind of meshes together, and then you start formulating your opinions and in what you think you know, what I think I know. But anyway, I do think they're working on tax reform. And then the other thing that's this alternative funding mechanism, resource reallocation, identifying reallocating funds from less critical areas of government spending to support the UBI. So we already have a lot of money going out to a lot of different things that's not even audited. So perhaps there's money that could be reallocated to this UBI. Hear a lot about public-private partnerships, collaboration with the private sector entities to generate revenue or contribute to UBI funding. That's a possibility. Everybody is nails on a chalkboard. A lot of people don't like this one. Carbon taxes or environmental levies. They could implement taxes on activities to contribute environmental. They would levy the taxes on the activities that contribute to environmental degradation, to fund social programs. Then there's also a financial transaction tax that they could do, taxing certain financial transactions to generate revenue, which I also hear them milling around talking about that kind of stuff. And then there's innovative financing models, exploring creative financing models such as sovereign wealth funds or impact investing. And then finally, reducing subsidies evaluate and potentially reduce certain subsidies to free up resources for this UBI. Each option obviously comes with its own set of challenges and implications, and the choice of the funding mechanism would depend on the economic and political context of the country or region. So does anybody have any questions or want to come up? Because I'm just rattling. And now that Simon is not here to rail me in, I just keep going. Let's see. Rosemary says, I like the part. Oh, I already read that, where they eliminate the bureaucracy. So as I thought about the alternatives to just simply raising taxes on the citizens, I asked the question, what is a sovereign wealth fund? And I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. I mean, I know the word sovereign, and I know the word wealth, and I know the word fund. I wasn't really aware of what a sovereign wealth fund is. And apparently, so I kind of looked it up. A sovereign wealth fund is a state-owned investment pool composed of financial assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, or other instruments. And these funds are typically established by countries with significant reserves of foreign exchange. And the primary purpose of a sovereign wealth fund is to invest and manage the wealth of the nation for the future generations. Sounds good. Sovereign wealth funds are created from revenues generated from activities like commodity exports, which would be like your oil and your natural gas, or foreign exchange reserves. The funds are managed separately from a country's regular fiscal accounts, and they're often tasked with achieving long-term returns and diversifying the nation's wealth. The countries that use sovereign wealth funds for various purposes, including stabilizing the economy during volatile periods, saving for future generations, and providing a source of funding for specific projects or initiatives, such as this universal basic income. And I said, what reserves could United States use for their own sovereign wealth fund? And so it says, the United States doesn't typically operate a traditional sovereign wealth fund like some other nations, as its fiscal and economic structure differs from those heavily reliant on commodity exports. However, the U.S. does have various reserves and assets that contribute to its economic strength. And so it says that, the foreign exchange reserves, that we hold a substantial amount of foreign exchange reserves, largely in the form of US dollars held by other countries and central banks. Well, if you've been giving any attention to our current situation, some of those other countries are not really holding our US dollar. So that might not be a good solution. However, gold reserves is another one, and the U.S. maintains a significant amount of gold reserves through the role of gold in the modern financial system, or although the role of gold in the financial system has kind of evolved over time. We have government-owned assets, and that includes government-owned assets such as federal lands and buildings and infrastructure. Okay. And then we have investment funds and portfolios. And while it's not a traditional sovereign wealth fund, the U.S. has investment funds and portfolios managed by entities like the Federal Reserve and various pension funds. Creating a dedicated sovereign wealth fund in the United States will require careful consideration of its economic goals, legal framework, and the sources of funding. The government typically relies on taxation, borrowing, or other financial tools to fund its operations and initiatives. Well, when I heard that doesn't make me feel super great when I think about it, because we're on a debt-based system now. Don't have super confidence in the Federal Reserve, putting our money in the stock market, which is also kind of fake, kind of gives me some red flags on that. So I digress. I did want to know though, what are some countries that are making some moves to become more independent through their sovereign wealth? And so I wanted to know, are there any countries out there that have a sovereign wealth fund? And what are some indications that they're creating themselves to be more independent? And so I asked ChatGPT to give me 3 examples of countries that are making moves to become more independent through sovereign wealth. And there are several, but here's just 3. Norway has a sovereign wealth fund, and that it's known as the GPFG, which is the Government Pension Fund Global, and it's commonly known as the Norwegian Oil Fund, and it's one of the largest sovereign wealth funds globally. And the purpose of that fund was to create and manage the country's surplus revenues from petroleum activities for future generations. And then in the investments, they have investments in various sectors globally, contributing to Norway's economic stability and providing a financial buffer. A second example it gave me was United Arab Emirates, the UAE. The UAE, particularly Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they have several sovereign wealth funds, such as the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, the Investment Corporation of Dubai. And the purpose of these funds is to diversify the UAE's economy away from oil and gas and invest in strategic sectors and promote long-term economic sustainability. And then their investments include real estate, infrastructure, technology, and other sectors. And at anyone that is in the digital asset space, the cryptocurrency space, I'm sure you're aware that there's a lot of stuff going on in Dubai. A lot of technology conferences and movers and shakers and developers and builders, and they are serious about getting away from oil and gas. And so I keep an eye on them. I think they're someone to give attention to, a country to give attention to, and an example of trying to change their world, their reality, and getting off of the petrodollar, getting off and contributing with the oil and gas being their only what do I want to say? Their only asset in the game, so to speak. And then thirdly, they listed Singapore. And Singapore, to my knowledge, if I recall, it's been it's been probably over a year that I kind of looked into Singapore. But if I recall, they are one of the countries that are further ahead with their regulation, policies, and procedures in regards to the cryptocurrency space. And that's big to me, especially when you realize where we're heading with all of this technology, and the monetary system and the changes and the structure, and the level playing field things that are happening in the world. I think that's very important to recognize. And so Singapore has a sovereign wealth fund. It's the Government of Singapore Investment Corporation, GIC, and they also have Temasek, TEMASEK Holdings. And the purpose of the funds is to play a crucial role in securing the country's financial future, managing the reserves and supporting economic development. And then the funds that they have diverse global investments contributing to Singapore's economic resilience. So I think these examples illustrate how countries use their sovereign wealth to manage their wealth and diversify their economies and build a financial foundation for future generations. And for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, but just in case you don't, I wanted to just give the definition of sovereign. And sovereign refers to a political entity or state that possesses full and independent authority over its own territory. A sovereign state has the power to govern itself without interference from external sources. And key characteristics of a sovereign state include the ability to enact laws, raise taxes, conduct foreign affairs, and maintain its own military forces. And you can also use the term sovereign more broadly to describe entities with supreme or independent authority, such as a sovereign ruler or a sovereign wealth fund, which is what we were just talking about. And the principle of sovereignty is fundamental, emphasizing on the equality and independence of states in the global system. What I think is interesting too is where they talk about being able to govern themselves without interference without external sources, and I think to oh geez, I'm lose El Salvador, and how, you know, back not super long ago, where they wanted to buy Bitcoin, and there was a big fluff over it, and the IMF was mad and pretty much telling them, you know, like, if you buy this and put all this wealth into Bitcoin, well, they didn't have wealth, they just had some money, but they didn't want them to, and then they threatened to withhold funding from them. And the leader of El Salvador said, you know what, nope, you're not going to tell us what to do, we're going to do this. They bought it, Bitcoin went up, they paid off their debt. And while that's a small little success story, it's actually really huge, and it's a big indication of what some of these other countries are starting to do and starting to recognize and realize, and becoming sovereign themselves, to where they don't have to rely on outside sources for their survival. And so I think that's really important, and it gives me hope that we are creating a level playing field, that eventually you won't have the little guys needing the big guys' money and power to control them and control their every move and prevent them from being successful, as has been done for a very long time. That does make me mad. So sorry if I got a little bit snotty on that one. And then I did look up the definition of wealth. And I mean, we think, you know, wealth it can mean a lot of things. And so in case those of you didn't kind of expand your thinking on it, because I didn't fully, but I just said, you know, hey, what's wealth? And wealth generally refers to the abundance of valuable resources or possessions possessed by an individual, community, organization, or nation. And it goes beyond just the monetary assets that you and I can attain, and it has various forms of assets and resources, and they can be categorized into different types. And so you got financial wealth, which is your money and investments and liquid assets that can be readily converted into cash. You have real wealth, which that would be your real estate, land, buildings, physical possessions. But then you have human capital. And that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier, as the human capital, the skills, the knowledge, the abilities of individuals, which contribute to their earning potential and overall well-being. And that human capital, people, is what is really important for our future, as we do transition over into this AI technology. The human capital aspect of it, our skills, our knowledge, our abilities, our personalities, that is what we need to focus and sharpen that up, and couple that with the AI, the new stuff, so that we can survive in this new economy. And I just beg you to look at that and realize how awesome you are, and just continue to sharpen yourself and be the best that you can be. And don't let yourself get discouraged. The purpose of the show was not to get people to be bummed out about this. I just really want people to understand that it's coming, and we do have power, and we can make things better. And we are important, and that human capital is something that AI cannot take away from you and from me. So, and then we have the natural resources, and that's another form of wealth, and that's derived from minerals and forests and water and other environmental resources. And then you got the social capital, and that's what's derived from social relationships, network, and community connections, which is what Vita Broadcast Network is trying to build, is a social community, a social network, a bunch of people coming together and sharing the information that we come across, and have discussions with all of you, and inspire you to have discussions with us, and hopefully maybe provide us some things that we hadn't thought about. That is where we win. When we can communicate and keep the lines of communication open, and we start having these types of discussion, and we don't just allow them to divide us and make these complicated things to where it divides us and we're arguing over the shiny object. Dig deeper, expand your thinking, dig deeper, and think about things a little bit more. Get more than one perspective on things, and that's all I'm trying to do tonight with this. And then finally, it says wealth is often measured in terms of net worth, which is your total assets minus liabilities. And it plays a crucial role in economic and social context, influencing individuals and society standards of living and opportunity and overall prosperity. And so you have your sovereign and you have your wealth. And so what is sovereign wealth? What is sovereign wealth? It generally refers to the wealth owned or controlled by a sovereign entity, typically a government or a state. And this wealth is often generated from various sources, such as natural resources, the oil and minerals, and the foreign exchange reserves and other state-owned assets. And then that's just distinct from the private wealth. And so here we bring them back together again of what is sovereign wealth. Governments may accumulate their sovereign wealth for various purposes, to stabilize the economy, for the future generations, to diversify, strategic investments, global influence. These sovereign wealth funds that they create are the common structures used from governments to manage and invest their sovereign wealth. And they operate independently, and that's the key. They operate independently from government budgets and are often designed to generate returns and investments that can contribute to the country's economic development and stability. And so I had asked that, earlier, I'd asked, does the United States have a sovereign wealth fund independent of its regular fiscal accounts? No, it does not. It does not have a traditional sovereign wealth fund like many other countries, where a separate fund's established to manage and invest the state-owned assets independently of regular fiscal accounts. However, do you want to know what we do have? You guys want to know what we do have? We have the Federal Reserve. We have the Federal Reserve. While the Federal Reserve is not a wealth fund, the Federal Reserve plays a significant role in managing the monetary policy and has a portfolio of assets. Well, that ought to make us feel good, right? Because the Federal Reserve is not even federal. It's really not for us. So that doesn't make me very happy. We also have pension funds, but these pension funds they're at the federal and state levels that they manage the investments on behalf of the government employees. And then that contributes to the long-term financial stability for the government. employees. So that doesn't make me feel very positive, or it doesn't calm my nerves about how we're going to pay for this. And then Social Security Trust Fund. Well, the U.S. has trust funds such as the Social Security Trust Fund, which holds assets to cover future obligations. Well, who pays for that? We do. We do. That's not a commodity. I mean, it's human capital, but we're paying into Social Security, and so are our employers. So they're calling that part, they're calling that the equivalent to a sovereign wealth fund, and I don't agree. But so then they did say it's important to note the U.S. primarily relies on taxation, at least to tell the truth, borrowing, and other financial instruments to fund government operations and initiatives rather than a designated sovereign wealth fund. Changes in financial structures and policies can occur, so it's recommended to check back for the latest information for any updates on the United States financial strategies or the creation of any new funds. Well, when I thought about that, I thought to myself, there are a lot of things happening right now. I mean, I don't know if any of you are giving the whole Nasara Jasara thing, where supposedly we're going to have all the debt wiped out, and everybody is going to get money, which that could be a form of UBI, I suppose. You could call it UBI, but according to that, I think that's where they're kind of paying back what was stolen, according to the people that talk about the Nasara Jasara. I don't really know if that's going to happen, but something's going to happen in terms of a universal basic income, or where some money is going to come back. Something is going to happen as far as our financial structure being changed over. There's no question in my mind that the whole financial structure is being put on its head, and the world is working to replace the existing bridges for doing commerce and trade and all these types of things. And so we're seeing huge things happening, and where we come out on the other end, I'm not exactly sure. But one thing I do know is that if we do our best to give attention to the things that are important, not let ourselves get sidetracked with arguments and left versus right, and religious war, all the things that they try to distract us from, or distract us with, and give our attention to the things that are really important, as far as our jobs, our skills, our money. That's where our attention can be spent. That's going to benefit not only us, but our future generations. And the more that we come together and we talk about these things and give each other ideas and lift each other up, and like Simon's saying, he doesn't buy into all of our jobs being taken away. And we could create businesses too, right? We can create businesses too, but maybe our businesses will be a little bit different than these corporate businesses that are out there. And what we choose to pay each other might not be what they haven't planned for us, So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I did my best to present this to all of you, and I'm sorry about the technical difficulties on X. For those of you that were listening on X and had to abort because my mic wasn't on, I apologize. But I do thank you all for coming, and I look forward to having some time with you again, and look forward to Christy being back. And until next time, I hope you all have a good day and good rest of the evening. And please like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you all later. Thank you so much. Bye. End it for everyone. Let's see if I can do it. That's